Great. We are so excited to have you all here today. Thank you everyone for joining to Ready, Set, Solar Decathlon. We are here to make sure that you are set up to be successful, that each and every team here is ready to be successful in the Solar Decathlon. So with that, an introduction to our agenda today. We're going to have some fast-paced slides just to make sure everyone understands what the Solar Decathlon is today. And then we are going to break out into breakout rooms. And this is really an opportunity to engage with the organizers, engage with alumni, engage with mentors and other teams, and get ready to launch your project. So I'll talk a little bit more about our breakout sessions in a little bit, but we're going to kick off with a welcome from our director and some inspiration from some of our very talented alumni. We will come back together after our breakout for some quick closing remarks, so I'd encourage you to stick around for that. So with that, I will hand it off to our esteemed, let me just go over some quick housekeeping items first. Please feel free to submit questions via the chat at any time. We have many organizers on here ready to answer your questions, and make sure you have the links and information that you need. We're going to do video off and remain muted for this next little bit. But please make sure you join via computer, because for our breakout sessions, it works best to be on your computer. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Holly Carr, our Solar Decathlon Director. Holly?
Hey everybody, are you hearing me okay?
Yes, hi Holly, thanks.
Hello. Well, it's always hard to follow our secretary, Jennifer Granholm. She always says it best, as she certainly did there. That was a little snippet from our 2020 event held in 2021, where we had Jennifer Granholm joining us for the award ceremony and handing out our grand prizes to our student teams. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our history. You've seen perhaps by now this 20th anniversary logo that we have. We're trying to plaster it everywhere because we're really excited that 2022 is indeed our 20th anniversary for Solar Decathlon. We got this started here at the Department of Energy in 2002. It first took place on the National Mall. There were 14 teams. Some of you may be familiar with some of those events or might have even attended some of those events on the National Mall. We later held them in California a couple of times, and also in Denver, Colorado in 2017, where we brought houses together and competed them in a single location. We've always competed single family residential homes. And since 2002, we've held 9 of these Solar Decathlon build events, typically every couple of years, after 2005, every couple of years, and we are still going strong. So you can see in this slide that things have changed. They certainly changed for us last year. We held an all virtual event via Zoom for both our design and build challenge. And that's a big evolution that we're really excited about in the past couple of years, going from a build challenge only where student teams design and build residential buildings to adding on this design challenge where student teams design both residential and commercial buildings in a number of different divisions. So over the past 20 years, we've built about 150 homes. Those homes have been visited by over 2 million folks around the world and across the country. We've had well over 20,000 students participate in this program, and that's just here in the US, in our US program. As you may know, we also have international programs, 6 of those international programs around the world. And in our US program alone, 35 countries have been represented between the Design and Build Challenge. So we're extremely excited about where we have come from and what we have accomplished as a program and with you. And we can't wait to see what the future brings for this program. moving on to the next slide, this is where I wax poetic about Solar Decathlon and why I love Solar Decathlon. Let me just tell you two things. First of all, Solar Decathlon is life-changing. It's that simple. I think if you spoke to many of those 23,000 students that have gone through this program, they would likely tell you that Solar Decathlon, their participation in this event was professionally life-changing, really put them on a trajectory for a path in building design and construction that they had not anticipated, and that it was personally life-changing for them. We're going to hear from some of those folks later on in this event, and I really look forward to hearing those personal experiences of both faculty and students who have taken on this life-changing project. Secondly, I'll tell you, you won't regret participating in Solar Decathlon. I'll be frank with you, you may regret in the short term participating in Solar Decathlon. You may regret at 11:59 on the evening of the due date of a deliverable. I see Rachel smiling over there. You may have the tiniest bit of regret because it's not easy. This is not an easy program. This is not an easy challenge. And there's a reason why it's called the Design Challenge, and there's a reason why it's called the Build Challenge. You will not regret pushing yourself. You will not regret the professional skills that you learn in this program. You will not regret the interpersonal skills that you gain in this program, learning to advocate for your design, learning to really speak for your design in front of people. You will not regret future-proofing your career through the Solar Decathlon. So those are the two things I want to share with you. Those are two things that I love about Solar Decathlon, the impact that it has on all of these students and faculty throughout their careers, and the incredible lifelong benefits that our participants see. With that, Rachel, I'm going to turn it back to you, and thank you all so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Holly. That was truly inspiring, and appreciate your leadership. So let's just go back to be ready to get going in this. Just a reminder that the Solar Decathlon is a collegiate competition, so it's open to all collegiate competitors. We'll talk about the 10 contests, but we are challenging student teams to both design and build, and we're going to cover that. But we're looking at high performance, low carbon buildings powered by renewable energy. And that is the foundation of our program that we're going over and the project that you're going to be working on. So the competition is organized into two challenges. We have the design challenge and the build challenge. The design challenge, you're going to be wanting to look at residential or commercial buildings, and you'll be competing in one of 6 divisions. The build challenge, everyone competes in a local build and competes nationally. We're very excited to be bringing that new format to you this year, and Michael will be talking about that shortly. Both of the challenges compete in the same 10 contests. And while they're juried a little bit differently, these 10 contests really are the pillar of that high performance, low carbon building powered by renewable energy. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about why to participate. I think Holly really hit nicely on some of these characteristics. Our students are going to talk about the real world design experience. Over 90% of our students say they wouldn't have gained this experience in the classroom like they did with this program. You're going to learn from world-class thought leaders, whether that's locally as a partner of your team or our jurors when you come to compete. Really, you're going to prepare for your clean energy careers, and we'll hear that from our alumni who are already entering the workforce and gaining and having experiences that are very much related to their experience in Solar Decathlon. You're going to develop a multidisciplinary team, which we all work on multidisciplinary teams, no matter what you do. So this is a great experience, and the ability to say you've worked on a multidisciplinary team is invaluable. You are going to drive innovation in the building industry. I was just at a conference where our winning teams from last year were presenting, and they were inspiring builders that have been building for 20 years, but they bring new ideas. And that is so, so important for the buildings industry. And finally, you're going to develop critical career skills. These skills, which you may not know today what you're going to get, but they are so important. Time management, ability to work with a team virtually, all of that is so important in today's workforce. So on the next slide, some of the things that are going to help you prepare for that and be strong in Solar Decathlon and in the buildings workforce is our building science education. This is an education series that we've completed by leading industry experts, which will help you build that strong foundation in building science for the competition. It does cover the fundamentals of zero energy building design, and I'd encourage you, if you have more questions about this, to join the Building Science Education breakout later today. Other things that we offer include the mentor program, which, design partners, which is where we offer a few select projects where someone has come to the Solar Decathlon organizers and said, we want to work with the team. We want to do that zero energy building design, and we want to do that in our community. So this is a great way to experience real world design processes and share zero energy best practices back with someone in the community. And now we'll go for those mentors. The mentor program is where you can be paired with alumni mentors who can provide technical and non-technical feedback. So here's how you want to compete best. Here's reviews on your project. We launched this program last year, and it was a great experience for many of our alumni to be able to contribute back to teams, as well as the teams, especially new teams, to hear from others' experience. So that's a great thing to take advantage of. And we will also have a breakout room on that as well. Next slide. So we're going to hear from some past participants, but the quotes are all around. It's been a profound experience. They grew as a designer. It's highly rewarding. They were very inspired by the projects. So this is exactly what you're hearing. Is it's an inspiring program. All right, let's keep moving. So take a minute. I know maybe some of you are new and have not chosen challenge yet. We've put this together, but first you're going to want to look at the building type. The commercial building types are only offered in design. So if you're interested in design of a office building, that's maybe a better way to go. If you're interested in residential, there is a time commitment. So design is 1 to 2 academic semesters, and build is closer to 2 academic years. If you're interested in construction, then build is the way you want to go, and you're going to do design and build to get to your final project. If you only want to do design, then the design challenge is where you want to be. So let's get into more about the design challenge. I love this quote from the student. My overall experience was one of pure bliss. The value and extension to my education and future career are undeniable. Even though all the events were held virtually, they still felt the enthusiasm. And we feel your enthusiasm, and we hope to talk with you more in our breakouts today. So the design challenge does have 6 divisions this year. The first division is new housing and retrofit housing. We're very excited to be bringing you retrofit housing specifically. and then separating off that new housing. Retrofit housing is taking an existing building, and we're excited to have that design problem. Attached housing is like a row home. Multifamily building has been extended, it's made larger. You can have mixed use in your multifamily building, so up to 15 stories. Office building can have up to 50% of other use. So I'd encourage you to explore the definitions of the divisions and where your project might fit in. Finally, education building is pre-K through 12 or any segment of that. So if you want to do a K through 2 building, that might be the division for you. Next slide. So some reasons why you'd want to compete in the design challenge. You're going to work on zero energy strategies, zero carbon strategies. You're going to be looking at building system design and really diving into that topic specifically. You're going to be doing life cycle cost analysis. At the conference I went to this week, that was all the rage, is looking at that. And I think it's really important that we look at this. You're going to be completing energy modeling and competing in energy performance and presenting to a wide variety of audiences. And we're really excited about this year. So some big milestones. We are going to be having a semifinals event in February. This will be an option for all teams to participate virtually, where the teams are going to give a short design presentation to industry and get some of that critical early feedback virtually. We're really excited about that. And then we're going to have our career fair earlier in February. We know a lot of you are getting jobs in January or February, and so we want to kind of meet up with that. And then finally, we're really excited to be hopefully thinking about our competition event in April. And all participant teams are invited to that. So whether you're a finalist team or not, you'll be able to participate. And we're going to be announcing our winners at this event. And we hope we'll be able to give you a tour of a world-class renewable energy research facility that we get to work in. All right, with that, I will hand it over to my colleague and the Build Challenge Competition Manager, Michael Young. Michael?
Thanks, Rachel. So now I'm going to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about the 2023 Build Challenge, which I think Holly and Rachel both alluded to, have some new elements, a new format this year. But first, we love sharing these quotes from past students. And this quote from a Build Challenge student really just talks about a lot of what you've already heard and what we've said is, you know, this experience exposes these students to so many valuable experiences. And this particular student said, you know, they wouldn't have otherwise encountered something like this without the Solar Decathlon. So something like this is highly rewarding and life-changing, as you've seen from a number of other testimonials. But let's dive in and spend a few minutes looking at the Build Challenge. So for the Build Challenge, Rachel mentioned it's a 2-year competition to design, build, operate, and exhibit a zero energy or energy positive home. The big change this year is what we're calling a local build format, where the houses will be built permanently in the local community of each competing school, which allows greater access to industry, the local community itself, less commitment from the collegiate institution, and a better long-term purpose of the house. If you think about the history that Holly mentioned of the Build Challenge, of houses being built and transported to a central location and then assembled for a big event all together in DC or Denver or California, that format has a lot of logistics to it, a lot of costs, a lot of carbon footprint, and it is a little bit harder to have that long-term purpose of the house in that format. So we're very excited to have the local build to allow for permanent construction in the local community and really engage locally with each of our teams. Also with the Build Challenge, the U.S. Department of Energy will be providing $50,000 in prize funding for up to 20 of our competing teams who receive approval to proceed to construction. And this money, this funding is provided to each team to go towards the construction activities and help move you along and ensure success of the build competition. Along the way, students are learning through partnerships with industry, and they gain not only their local recognition, but national and international recognition by being part of the Solar Decathlon competition. So it's a really exciting event, and we're gonna spend another moment here on the next few slides talking about why you should compete. And you know, this is gonna be repetitive. We've said it a number of times now, but it's a rewarding experience, and particularly with the Build Challenge. It involves a construction project. You're going from beginning to end of design, construction, going through the project management phase, going through the design and construction, the modeling, the testing, and then community outreach, and really just getting that beginning to end experience that most students would not get otherwise until they're in the industry working with an engineering firm or an architect or a builder. So the Solar Decathlon Build Challenge is truly a unique opportunity and a unique experience for students to go through a real build project and work together with their teammates on a multidisciplinary team and engage with their local community. Next slide. So the competition event, over the 2-year course of the Build Challenge, you will actually go through 2 of these events. So this one is actually just showing our event coming up in April 2022. For the Build Challenge, this is a midpoint of the competition. This is where designs will be presented to a panel of industry experts, and those experts are reviewing these designs to determine if the teams are ready to move on to construction, if they receive the approval to proceed to that construction phase of the challenge and continue on in the second half of the competition cycle. As I just mentioned, up to 20 of these teams are eligible to receive the $50,000 in prize funding. And during this event, there's also an opportunity to interact and engage with other competing teams and students in the Build Challenge as well as the Design Challenge, and to tour our world-class facility here at NREL. I don't believe we have a slide on this, but the second final event for the Build Challenge in April 2023 would be the final event for Build, where the final construction, the final deliverables and jury presentations are all delivered, and points are awarded, and the final winners are determined at that event in April of 2023. So we look forward to talking to you more. I will be hosting a breakout session in a little bit to talk more about the Build Challenge, answer questions. So I look forward to seeing you there. And at this point, I will hand it back to Rachel. Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. Great description of the Build Challenge. All right, well, enough talking about what you will experience. It's time to hear from some past participants of the Solar Decathlon. So we have 3 alumni joining us today. First is Andrea Lynn, the student team lead from Team Ingenuity from Northwestern University. This is the residential grand winner from the 2021 Design Challenge. Then we will have Hannah Blake, the student team lead from the University of Colorado Boulder, who was the overall winner of the 2020 Build Challenge. And last but not least, Nora Wang Esram. She's a Solar Decathlon alum from 2008, who is now the Senior Director for Research at ACEEE. So I really think this is a broad grouping of alumni. You can see recent alumni, their experiences, as well as alumni who are now really changing the world. So with that, Andrea?
Hello, can you see me? Okay, cool. Yeah, so you are here because you're thinking about doing Solar Decathlon. And as mentioned, my name is Andrea. I am a recent graduate from Northwestern University. I was the student team lead for Ingenuity, which was our 2021 Solar Decathlon Design Challenge team. our design for New Home. Our design for New Home won first place in the Urban Single Family Housing Division, as well as the overall residential grand winner. This is a picture from our first in-person meetup, which was actually 6 weeks after the competition ended. And so today I wanted to talk to you about how this was our first Solar Decathlon, and also how we navigated a 100% virtual collaboration. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our team, and in particular, the challenges that we went through as a first-time team. So this is our team. We were a team of 12, which I think is on the larger side of Solar Decathlon teams. This actually began with Taylor and I in a club at the beginning of spring last year when everything went online. The club was one that did most things hands-on. And so we were trying to find something that we could do virtually. The two of us were interested in sustainable tiny house design, but one of our roadblocks was that since we didn't have any experience, having any sort of direction on what we should do was difficult. So Taylor came across the Solar Decathlon. We thought it would be a good idea to have some sort of structure, but you needed 3 students at least to enter the Solar Decathlon. So since there were only 2 of us, we put out an interest form and ended up gathering other students that were interested in a sustainable design competition. Our team was entirely undergraduates. So we had 2 fourth years, 4 third years, and 6 second-year undergrads on our team. We were also all engineering majors in some way. None of us were architecture majors, which was something that was a bit intimidating at first. Northwestern offers some architecture courses. So I had taken about a year of that. Julia had taken some. Chris, Devin, Mark, and Ellie were starting their first one. And then Sahir, Robert, Luke, Bill, Grace, and Taylor all did not have any architecture course experience prior to the start of Solar Decathlon. And so for all of us, as I mentioned, this was our first time participating in a Solar Decathlon. So the 2 things that I wanted to highlight was we were inexperienced and that we were doing all of this virtually. So one of the challenges of being inexperienced, the way that we addressed that was we had a design partner who was a Chicago architect that we met with weekly. We had a faculty advisor who was a professor of civil engineering at Northwestern. We met with bi-weekly. And we also had a mentor provided by Solar Decathlon that we also met with bi-weekly. And so these meetings were an opportunity for us to present our ideas, the problems we were running into, and get a professional's opinion on either a direction we should move in, something we should research more, or if they didn't know the answer, they could direct us to somebody who knew more about it. So through our advisors and our mentors, we gained an even wider network of professionals to consult with on our design. Another thing I think might be intimidating for an inexperienced team is not really knowing how to design. And I think something that was really important for us was to explore our ideas in ways that were familiar to us. So Devin had been drawing things just on paper. Ellie was learning how to 3D model, and so she was trying that out with her first ideas. And then for Robert, it was familiar to him to build stuff in Minecraft, so that's how he presented his first ideas about the design of the home. In terms of virtual collaboration, I learned that a 12-person Zoom room is difficult to navigate when you're trying to all work together. It's not the same as sitting in a room with 12 people. So one way we addressed that was splitting off into sub-teams that were led by Sahir, Robert, and Chris, where people could work more intimately with a smaller group, get work done that way, and then we would come back all together as a team of 12 to discuss larger decisions or parts that we were having trouble with and help each other out like that. Another part of our virtual collaboration was finding a way that we could all work together. This might look very intimidating. This is our final report, but this is also like almost a year's worth of work. And if you see in the top left corner, if that's familiar, this was made on Google Slides. And so that was a way that all of our team members could work together on the same thing at the same time, and was familiar enough to us. And I think that was a really key part of our virtual collaboration. So yeah, in terms of being inexperienced, we consulted with professionals, and we also tried to explore our ideas in ways that we already knew how to do. And then in terms of being virtual, we split off our team into smaller groups to work and then come back together, as well as trying to find ways that we could all collaborate at the same time. So back to kind of what Solar Decathlon has brought me. As I had mentioned, I had no bachelor's in architecture, but I'm interested in the architecture industry. And so the experience in Solar Decathlon gave me more confidence trying to find an architecture internship, as well as gave the person who ended up employing me as their architectural intern this past summer the confidence that I had knowledge of sustainable building design and that this was something I really am interested in, the fact that I had gone through the whole process of the Solar Decathlon. So I hope that this provided you with some more insight and information if you're interested in doing Solar Decathlon. So thank you for listening to me and good luck with your decisions on that.
Thank you, Andrea. That is so inspiring and so great to hear your interaction with mentors and industry partners and all of that. All right, on to Hannah. Hannah? Do we have Hannah? Great, I hear you. Hi.
Great. Perfect. I'll get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Blake, and I served as one of the leaders of the University of Colorado Boulder Solar Decathlon 2020 Build Challenge team. I was an undergrad during my time on the team and studied architectural engineering. I now work as a mechanical designer at the Phoenix location of Henderson Engineers, a building engineering firm. Our team designed and built the Spark House in Fraser, Colorado. The design addresses mountain town housing attainability issues and is on track to achieve net zero energy plus status. By meeting these goals with an all-electric house in one of the coldest climates in the US, we set a precedent for cold climate sustainable housing. As I talk a little bit more, you'll be viewing a slideshow of some of the photos that were taken over the course of about 3 years that our team was involved on this project. My roommate and I started the team in 2017 after we were inspired by the 2017 Solar Decathlon Showcase. We were able to visit the Build Challenge exhibition as it was held in Denver that year. We were so motivated by this crazy idea that students could design and build innovative, industry-leading, influential, and frankly, beautiful homes while they were still students. Our school had participated in the competition before, but it had been over 10 years since. So we mostly felt like we were starting from scratch, but as we recruited members and advisors, things quickly grew and we became each other's really solid support system. Over the years, the project touched dozens of people, with students from engineering, business, architecture, and more. We had an amazing faculty advisor who was with us start to finish. We had several industry mentors and a couple key industry partners, which was particularly important during the construction phase for our team. We were given advice early on by some architecture professors that the key to a good design is keeping a very clear purpose and intent at the forefront of every decision. This can also be described as your story. The story needs to be more specific than net zero because everybody in the competition is aiming to do that. The competition requires you to go through this exercise, and I just want to emphasize the importance of it. The story is the guiding principle for when things get tough and confusing and stressful. Remind yourself of the why. Our why was mountain town housing issues, and it was close to our team's hearts and geography being at school in Colorado. Every decision we made, we asked ourselves, does this fit our story? Does this solve the problem we are setting out to solve? Does this speak to the demographic we are aiming towards? This kept us really intentional about all our design and budget decisions. The experience that the Solar Decathlon Build Challenge offers is so unique. It's sometimes difficult to explain it to people who are unfamiliar with the competition. I often found in interviews or conversations, there was a moment with the person where they had to digest what I was saying a bit, like, wait, you actually built a house? It's an amazing accomplishment. But I won't lie to you, it's not an easy journey. And most likely, wanting a resume boost is not going to be enough to keep you motivated and inspired when things get stressful. In this competition, you're dealing with real people's money. You're working long hours on top of your school curriculum, and you're making decisions that really matter. But that's also the point. Everything I just said is exactly why the Build Challenge experience is so unique and fulfilling and rewarding. So I encourage you to define your why, whether it's your passion for system design or net zero solutions, your interest in the building industry, your desire to gain real-world experience as a student, your passion to address climate change, or whatever it is, the possibilities go on. And I also want to remind you that this competition is designed to support you in success. The organizers want you to succeed and are there to answer questions and offer perspective through adversities you may have. In conclusion, this competition experience brought me hands-on engineering experience virtually unseen elsewhere in a student environment, as well as lifelong friends and fond memories. In participating, you gain the shared experience with other SD alum that will be felt forevermore. The competition became a strong highlight of my undergrad career, and I'm so glad I was a part of it. I can confidently say that the experience was life-changing. You have the opportunity to interface with industry professionals, broaden your understanding of the industry, and maybe even narrow down exactly what you want to pursue in a career. You learn so many skills, both technical and interpersonal, and it's really inspiring to see what students are capable of and to see the impressive innovations that come from focusing time and effort on developing sustainable solutions. Decarbonizing the building sector and addressing climate change are possible now, and it takes people like you who are gathered here today to continue to progress the movement. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to the breakout rooms to chat more.
Thank you, Hannah. That was really wonderful, and I appreciate all that you say. All right, we'll move on to Nora, who was also one of our 2021 grand jurors for the Design Challenge. Nora?
Here we go, unmute. All right. Well, thank you for having me today. I would like to start by saying you guys are very lucky. Solar Decathlon started in 2002 when very few people knew what an off-the-grid solar house means. The year I participated was in 2007. At that time, there was less than 200 megawatts residential solar installation. And today that number rose to 21,000 megawatts. And overall, the US has over 100 gigawatts of solar installation capacity. That's enough to power nearly 90 million homes. So I'll talk a little bit my personal experience. I signed up to lead the 2007 Solar Decathlon team for the University of Illinois, and I had no clue what I got myself into. I'm an architect by training, so design a house that is less than 1,000 square feet is a small piece of cake. It turned out that I was totally wrong. Maybe it would have been easier if we didn't have to build it ourselves, if we didn't have a budget, or if we didn't have to monitor its performance, or if we didn't have to ship it from Illinois to Washington, DC. So my lifetime lessons learned, number one, it's always easier said than done. I remember receiving numerous phone calls from a teammate who was in charge of construction. He kept asking, am I okay with getting rid of this and replacing that? And all of my fantastic architecture ideas. And another teammate, and he was in charge of water heater, and he decided to build a heat pump water heater from scratch. Okay, 15 years ago, heat pump water heater was still a new concept. We said, go ahead. When we were on the mall, the day before the contest, he was still in the house fixing the water heater. We were so worried, and it turned out that we failed the hot water contest. I was no better myself, and on the mall, I was busy with completing a piece of overhang, and I was so adore my design, but nobody seems to care. So my teammate managed to stop me. I burst into tears because I was so convinced that we were going to lose the architectural context because the incomplete overhang. After nearly 15 years, and those moments are still vivid, I hope you all have, a lot of memory to share after a decade, and I'm sure you will. After we came back from DC in 2007, we brought back some awards. We were all exhausted, but very pumped up. So a few of us formed a solar house company, and we designed our first commercially available solar house. Guess what happened? It turned out that we couldn't find anyone wanted to buy or build a solar house. Yes, it was a new concept at that time. Even we offer free labor, right? It seemed too risky for an average homeowner, but that wasn't really quite the reason. I don't know if 2008, a year of 2008, ring a bell to anyone here. I assume you were unborn by then. That was the American housing crisis and then the following Great Depression. That event totally crashed our dream. That's why I said you guys are so lucky, not just because of the bigger environment, just because of the economy, everything going on in the US now. So if you ask me how Solar Decathlon has affected the trajectory of my career, I would say the biggest impact is not landing me a job or somewhere. I did get a great job, by the way, at the end, but I would say the biggest impact was it taught me how to approach problems and how to view success. Problems are not guidelines. So, problems are guidelines, but they're not stop signs. So let me repeat, problems are guidelines, they're not stop signs. And success is in the process, it's not about the end results. So I wish you all good luck. Be creative, be bold, enjoy the process. You won't regret failure, but you may regret not trying too hard. Back to you, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you for your inspiring words. And so, they all say it the best. So let's break out into our breakout rooms, and you can meet the organizers. You can ask your questions of these wonderful presenters as well as others. So we are going to do that. There are going to be 9 breakout rooms. This sounds like a lot, but we have both the design and the build challenge. First, you are going to start by choosing a room. We encourage you, ask questions, make connections, use the chat function, use the ability to see each other. I know we're all virtual and this is hard, but we really want to give you the opportunity to meet and make those connections, and maybe then take that, to email or another meeting. So on the next slide, we'll show you our 9 breakout rooms. We have building science education. Understand the building science education requirements, ask questions about that as well as the content. Ask about design challenge. Specifically, if you have design challenge questions, go meet my assistant competition manager, Amanda, and learn about that. You can ask specific questions about the build challenge. Our faculty to faculty sessions, we have both a design and a build session. We have several amazing faculty in those sessions to answer your questions, and they're going to have a conversation about it. What does it mean to be a faculty advisor in the competition? Design partners, I could not have said it better. Andrea talked about Andrea talked about our mentor program, so I'll I'll let you go there and ask questions. Design partners, we do have a design partner on the line who is interested, who has worked with the past team. So learn about how that works. We have words of wisdom with our 3 alumni that just spoke. So if you have questions, you can join that one. And then if you feel like you're not getting your questions answered, please join me, Ask the Organizers Anything. And we mean anything. We are here to help you be successful. So you can navigate to the breakout room, select your topic and choose join. You're welcome to unmute your video if you're in a quiet location, and unmute your sound and turn your video on. We'd love to see you, just like I'm speaking to you today. We will send out reminders. We'd love for you to rotate to another room if you've had your questions answered. We'll send those reminders out about every 10 minutes. And if you are on the phone today, please consider joining by computer so that you can have the best experience, and choose gallery view so you can see everything. If you are having technical issues, you can return back to the main session or ask any breakout room host via chat. And with that, I think we're about good. So this session will last about 60 minutes, and then we're going to come back here for a few closing remarks before we end for the day. All right. Thank you, everyone, and off to breakout rooms we go. And I'd encourage you to continue reaching out to us. We are available at solardecathlon@nrel.gov. We're here to make sure that you can be successful. So what can you do to be successful? First, I'd encourage you to register at solardecathlon.gov. There is a blue link for the design challenge and an orange link for the build challenge. So if you click that link and go into the design challenge or the build challenge, you can register. That gets you in our system and your information, so we know that you're interested in putting a team together. We will start sending competition communication shortly, and we want to make sure you're receiving all of that. Applications are due October 26th for both design and build. Please make sure you have that in time. In time, we do not accept late applications. And I'd encourage you, if you think you're going to have a team, to get that application done today. As across the board, a successful team in the Solar Decathlon submits early and submits often. So get ahead on that. And start assembling your team. It was great to hear that people have put teams together. They're doing this as their capstone. They're making plans to build their home. They're making plans to complete this virtually. Thank you so much for being here. Again, please reach out to us anytime at solardecathlon@nrel.gov. We'd love to answer your questions and interact with you. Other than that, we look forward to seeing you soon, seeing you on our competition check-ins, and we hope you have a great day.
Thanks so much for coming to Ready, Set, Solar Decathlon. We're so excited to have you, and I can't wait to see the work that you all do on your Build Challenge designs over the next year. Off to you, Rachel. Oh.
Great toss, Michael. All right, thank you for coming today. We're so excited to see you in competition. Good luck.